Hello and welcome to Mystic Visions with DrShiny. This is a monthly tarot card reading for the month of March for Taurus. If you're a Taurus, this one is for you. Please like and subscribe the video. If you are a subscriber, I am very happy to draw some extra cards for you at the end of the reading and just for you. Let me know in the comments if that's something that you would like, and as always, I am very grateful for any feedback that you have, or just, tell me what you thought if it resonated. So let's go ahead and get going with the reading here for Taurus. Okay. Got the wish card in your foundation there. That's cool. All right. Okay, Taurus. Okay, so for Taurus today, we have this Five of Swords. That can mean that there's been a little bit of an argument or a misunderstanding. It may have gotten a little bit out of hand. There may have been some sort of harsh words said where maybe you said some things that you regret. But in general, there's been kind of like a difference of opinion or a difference in ideas about what the right way is forward, what the right way is to go. And it's caused a little bit of friction between you and those around you. Now, what we have for your crossing energy is this Queen of Coins. And the Queen of Coins, she has a nurturing, protective, she's a really good investor. She's good at, this card is often associated kind of like with pregnancy or motherhood of a small child or something like that. So you can kind of think about how aggressive mothers can be in that state of mind. And so it could be that kind of somehow drove these feelings, which may have led you to say some things that you regret or something like that. But more generally, the thing that's crossing you here is having to feel those kind of maternal instincts. Maybe you're a guy, paternal. But in one way or another, it's kind of grating on you a little bit. There's some need for you to sort of have the situation be kind of close to the chest and intimate for you to at least know what's going on, or to have a sense of understanding about what's transpiring around you. Now, what you're leaving behind is this King of Swords in the reverse. So King of Swords has this energy of, he's very intellectual, he's a commanding intellectual, and he can sometimes even be manipulative and things like that. But in the reverse, this is somewhat of like a cocky, arrogant, know-it-all type of person. But, obviously a lot of these people who are know-it-alls don't really know as much as they think they do, right? So this is an energy that you're leaving behind. So you have some life experience, which has caused you to become a little bit more wise and to deal with people a little bit more effectively. Or this is somebody that you're leaving behind who has been kind of this way, and you're done with putting up with it, and you're kind of like, sticking up for yourself, or you're fighting back from that sort of overbearing, I'm always right type of a mentality. And so one way or another, you're kind of moving away from that energy. And what you're moving toward is this Magician in the reverse. So this means that you're becoming a little bit more interested with manifesting your desires, manifesting your goals and everything like that. But what's happening is it's not working. It's kind of blocked up. You're frustrated with getting what you want done a little bit. Now, I've looked ahead at these other cards, and so I've kind of already got an idea about why that might be. But I won't spoil that just yet. But we'll just say that the way that you're going right now and the situation that you're in, it's gonna affect your ability to really manifest your goals and desires and things like that. Now, it's for a pretty silly reason, but we'll see. Okay, so your foundation here. Foundation is kind of like, what are you being taught here? What's going on? What is the universe trying to teach you? And you have the Nine of Cups, which is oftentimes called the wish card. So this is an indication of, first of all, make a wish right now. But this is an indication, especially in the foundation, that you have this ability to manifest your desires or to get what you want. But what I think is going on here is that there may be some sort of like self-doubts, or a lot of times you don't think that you deserve these things, or some sort of latent you're kind of interfering with achieving these goals, these desires, because part of you thinks that you're supposed to be in this struggle, or you're supposed to not be getting these things that you want. Maybe you didn't make some of the best decisions when you were a little bit younger, and you're still kind of subconsciously punishing yourself for something like that. But what this means is that you're going to want to keep your true heart's desires in your subconscious. That's what you want to be operating on, not on these sort of adopted beliefs in that you only deserve things if you're like really hardworking, or if you have a particular kind of a career, those kind of things. Now, what you have in your crowning thoughts is this Ten of Swords here. And the Ten of Swords can feel like all is lost. It can feel like you've really hit a dead end, or things are not working out. There's nowhere to go. But the idea behind this card is not that all really is lost. It is that there's always kind of tomorrow. There's always a release that comes with failure that allows you to move on to something else. You know what I mean? Or, if it really feels like despair like that. Now, really successful people treat failure as something ultimately to be learned from. It's a great opportunity because it actually teaches you a little bit more than if you're successful when you fail. But in the circumstance here, this is in your crowning thoughts. This is your consciousness. So you might have a little bit of like a pessimistic attitude about how things are going. Like, it's not going right. It's not going well. And that can be almost like poison to you, especially if you're trying to manifest a particular reality. If you're trying to make something turn out a certain way, having that negative attitude like that can really, really hurt your goals. But on the flip side, this is an opportunity for you to like let go of that and see the sunset on the horizon, to see that light at the end of the tunnel, and realize that you can move on from this situation, and you can make a change in your life. The advice card for you here is the Nine of Wands, this guy here. And Nine of Wands, this guy's all bandaged up. It looks like he's been beaten or battered pretty well, or badly, however you want to look at it. And he's got a little bit of life experiences that have made him kind of skeptical and afraid, and not... he's very suspicious of people and situations, and not trying to get into another situation like that where he ends up damaged again. Now, in your advice, this is saying to not allow yourself to start to think that these things are sort of predestined. Just because some bad things happened in the past, that doesn't mean that there is a constant pattern of these things that's going to occur. And if you start to feel like this is just how it is, like you're expecting to have these things happen, it becomes almost a self-fulfilling prophecy. And in a way, you're priming your subconscious to not be comfortable with anything but having that sort of, having bad things happen to you. This kind of reminds me of one of my favorite authors talks about how a lot of like Catholicism or particular versions of Christianity today are like a little bit masochistic, and the reason for that is because if you have this real fear of God as like an authority, and you're very afraid that you're not, right with God, one way that you can be sure that you're right is if you're being punished, right? Because then you know at least where you stand with the big guy. So it's like if you know you're wrong, then you're sure to be right, right? Whereas on the other hand, if nothing's happening, it's kind of you're a little bit, oh boy, what have I done? What's going to happen next? You're a little bit nervous about it. So some people search for comfort by looking for the pain of life. They're not really comfortable unless they're kind of sitting on the head of a pin, right? And so they seek after this misery because it gives them a sense of comfort. They think, life is pain, and so that's what they're looking for. You have the potential, and this situation is here to teach you that you don't have to accept that. You don't have to let that be your life, but it does require you to sort of change some of those subconscious beliefs and to start believing that you deserve to be happy and that things can turn out right. They can turn out the good way, and that you don't have to just always be pessimistic and trying to save yourself from disappointment when things don't turn out right. What you really need to do is to learn how to move on from things turning out wrong, and having a positive attitude in spite of things turning out wrong. And that way you kind of keep that good energy rolling instead of letting yourself kind of crash every time something bad happens, and then you're kind of starting all over again. What you have for your current environment is the Six of Cups in the reverse. So around you there are either some people who are kind of stuck in the past, or feeling a little bit traumatized, or there are memories or reminders of that around you, which are kind of like hearkening back to some horrible things that have happened that maybe have traumatized you or something like that. So be careful about that. Condition your environment. The external is a reflection of the internal. So do what you can to organize your environment in a way that promotes a good inner well-being, a good inner space. Make yourself happy. If look around, just every now and then look around the room and ask yourself, how do these surroundings make you feel? And what can you do to make yourself feel better? Do you hate the color of those curtains? Well, find something that you like. You know what I mean? Change the bedspread. There's little things that you can do that you may take for granted, but they have a big effect on your psyche when you add all of that together. So make sure that the space around you, that the environment around you, the people around you are creating the impression on you that you want. Think of yourself almost like a computer that you can program. You don't want to be programming it with lots of viruses and junk and things that are going to clog it up. You want to have it running well, so you want to take care of it. And you have to make a conscious effort to do that, to control the influences and what's coming in. Other people aren't going to do it for you. Your fears card, you have the chariot here. And so, I told you I looked ahead a little bit. That's what kind of falls or makes this narrative come together for me a little bit here. Is the chariot is very much about like accomplishment, going out on your own, having all these successes, and being in your fears. Again, there's almost the idea that there's this subconscious fear of being successful, of thinking that if you have some type of success, well, then that's just something that can be taken away from you, or it's just a matter of time before you end up losing it. So really harmful beliefs to hold if that's something that you're feeling. So you're going to want to kind of adjust your focus back into recognizing that there's good and there's bad. There's black and there's white. There are both aspects to life. And you don't have to, you shouldn't focus on one and ignore the other, because my favorite author says you cannot increase your capacity to know pleasure without also increasing your capacity to know pain, right? So both aspects of life are required for you to live in full measure, but what the trick is not to cling really to either of them, because if you're clinging to the good parts, then you're also going to find yourself clinging to the bad parts. And why do that? Just kind of let it flow, let it go, and it's a lot smoother to get through life like that. And recognize that you do deserve success, that you do deserve to have a good life and to have the things that you want. Now, your overall message, or the overall outcome for this reading, is this 8 of Coins. 8 of Coins is hard work, diligent hard work. So you have been putting some in, but in the long run, this is going to require you to be steadfast and diligent. You're going to have to constantly remind yourself to do these things, to adjust your mindset, to be more positive. And look, even if you're a generally positive person, everybody can use a little bit more of this positivity. I mean, almost everybody. I've met a couple people who are so bubbly that they're just kind of always in denial that anything needs to be done. And that could be a problem. But, the vast majority of people are not like that. The vast majority of people really need to work on not beating themselves up for things not working out right, or failures, or just kind of getting into a stinky attitude about how things are going. So this is going to indicate that this is something that it's not a switch that flips overnight. This is something that you have to be consistent with. You have to work at. And you will see the fruits of your labor if you do. Just even for a short time, if you're able to concentrate on this and make a change in your consciousness, where you're focusing more on the good aspects of how things are going, you're going to notice a huge difference in a very short time. And so that's about it for your reading today. Again, if you are interested in having a couple extra cards drawn particularly for you, please let me know in the comments, and I'd be happy to do that for you. And until next time, I'll see you at the next reading.